Hello, and welcome to the latest in a series of quickfire shows on Scotland's Euro 2020 adventure, produced by DCT Media. We'll be bringing you these short panel discussions throughout the Scots' involvement in the tournament, with Steve Clarke's side preparing for the big one, of course, England at Wembley tomorrow evening. These chats will be helmed by me, Ryan Cryle, from the Press and Journal.
And me, Sean Hamilton, from the Courier, where we'll also be joined by some of Scottish football's biggest names.
Okay, so joining us today is a 123 times capped Scotland internationalist who played every minute of the nation's Women's World Cup campaign in 2019. She starred for Aberdeen Ladies in Glasgow City in her homeland, but she's also plied her trade with big hitting clubs in England and America. It's Aberdeen's own Rachel Corsie. How are you, Rachel?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to be here.
Yeah. I think we're okay, yeah.
Have we lost Rachel? Oh no, she's still there. Magic. Stick around. And alongside Rachel is a man who has turned out for the likes of Dundee twice, Rangers, Cardiff City and Aberdeen, and he's also picked up 14 caps for Scotland along the way, which is no bad. Joining us live from Sydney, Australia, it's Gavin Rae. How are you, Gov?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so I think, again, we might have lost Rachel. Connection's maybe not great. So I'll start with you, Gavin. A lot's been made of the fact that Kieran Tierney, you obviously missed the first game, the 2-0 loss to Czech Republic. It seemed like it was pretty last minute that he was out, and as a result, Steve Clarke said he didn't want to tinker too much with the shape at the back. Would you be tempted, if Tierney was to remain out, to maybe move away from three at the back, or is there not enough time for that ahead of the England game?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? You know, he's sort of the shape they've always went with. He's been confident with, and they've got results with. So whether they change or not, I'm not sure. I was with the Tierney one. I was just gutted. It was so last minute that came through that it was right before the game. Sort of everyone sort of heard about it, and it was a little bit deflating right before the game that you find that one of your best players is out. So I was a bit gutted, obviously, when the team lines came out and he wasn't playing. But hopefully he's back for this one. Obviously, a big game coming up.
Rachel, I'll come to you. Since you've played at a major tournament, obviously, I think Ryan touched on that in his intro there. You played in every minute of it. In fact, I mean, when you're in that sort of environment, a major tournament environment, how hard is it to not be affected by the occasion?
I mean, it is obviously hard. You kind of go through that battle in your own head of you're trying to eliminate all these external factors, but at the same time, you have to try and also enjoy and appreciate the occasion. You know, you are at a Euros. It is a major tournament. You have achieved something that's special, and you know you've worked extremely hard for years. You've dreamt about it as a little kid of even getting there. And for some of those guys, they've never even seen a Scotland team there because they weren't born when the last time we were there. So
yeah,
it's important to also experience it. But obviously, it's a huge occasion, and obviously there's a huge amount of pressure. And I also think we know how scathing the Scottish fans are. I mean, I thought they actually, given it was the first game, I thought they started the game pretty well against Czech Republic, and we had chances. And you know, I think there's been a lot of criticism, and I don't think that's warranted. And I also think we're at a major tournament, we can enjoy it. If we don't win a single game, we can still be proud and enjoy it. But I think we're so quick to just be critical. I don't think that's the encouragement that the players need. And understand why fans feel that they can express that, but sometimes I feel it's a little overbearing. I think we can say we didn't get the result. There was a lot of positive stake for the first game. We have 2 opportunities and we can still progress. Will it be extremely hard? Yes. But we can still progress. Could we go to Wembley and win? I absolutely think so.
Rachel, so you're clearly still positive. Gavin, have you recovered your optimism after the disappointment of Monday?
Yeah, listen, I 100% sort of agree with Rachel in terms of like we are quick to judge and we are, you know, can be pretty scathing. But I think it's just through, you know, the sheer desperation of the nation doing well. But yeah, I agree. It can be pretty overbearing. But you know, if you look back on the game and as Rachel touched on, you know, they started really well. They had some good chances. On another day, you know, you take the chances and it's a totally different game and we go on and do really well. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be, and we didn't end up getting the win that we were really keen on for the first game, which is really important. So that's probably the disappointment. But in terms of overall performance and creating chances and being right in the game, we certainly were, and at a major tournament. So that's definitely positives to look on. But yeah, I think everyone's just obviously really keen to do really well. And can we go to Wembley and get a result? 100%. It's going to be difficult, of course. They're a very good team, but we could trouble them, and obviously we've got to just be positive for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's probably a tendency that especially against England, maybe more so than anyone else, we're maybe guilty of looking at the kind of talent that England have at their disposal, and maybe worrying about that more than we think about what we can do ourselves. But it's maybe understandable when you look at the quality of player that England have got. I mean, if you look at the attacking talent in the Croatia game in particular, there's Kane, Foden, Sterling up top. You've got Phillips and Mount in behind them. You've got fullbacks who get forward, centre half and John Stones who steps out, and then on the bench you've got Grealish, Rashford, Calvert-Lewin. I mean, when you list them like that, it's quite frightening, really. I mean, Rachel, how can Scotland get to grips with players of that sort of ability?
Yeah, I think when you look at their team at the moment, they do have exceptional depth and really exciting players to watch. But also, a lot of their players are young. A lot of their players will feel, whilst they have a front of, that reassurance, and some people refer to it as arrogance, but they also will feel nervous. There's a lot of those, I read something yesterday, Tyrone Mings couldn't eat before the game because he was so nervous to play on that stage. These guys are the same. As much as they have an outward confidence, they feel nervous too. They're also human. They're very capable of mistakes, like we all are. I actually think them having a lot more possession might suit the style that we play, and I think we saw that in how we qualified for the tournament. The games we got results in, a lot of the important sort of points we picked up were in the games that we didn't have a lot of the ball, and we have that system. I think suits our ability to counter attack. Because we almost pull players out, and we have the capacity to get down the outsides and put balls in. I think the likes of Dykes and Che Adams in the middle, they're good in the box, in and around that goal. They can, they only need one chance. So whilst I expect obviously England to dominate, I think it's going to be a case of us soaking up a lot of pressure, but I also think we can be set up to handle that, and we'll obviously need to ride our luck. We'll probably need our goalkeeper to make some big saves, but that can be what galvanises the team and spurs us on to maybe get that result that we need.
The Euros, as you touched on there with Tyrone Mings, the Euros is obviously important for England as it's important for us. It's a big occasion. In terms of the Scotland-England rivalry itself, do you think it maybe means more to Scotland than it does to England, or do you think they're as aware of the historical significance as we are? Gavin,
I think they're very aware. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, you can take it if you want, Rachel. Go for it.
I think they're very aware of it. I think they're very aware. I think it maybe hurts a little less for them because I think they've probably had more victories in the last few encounters. So, but they're very much aware, and I think that works in our favour more than it does theirs, because on paper they probably are the better side, and I think with something that's got an intense rivalry, how that can level the playing field a little bit.
Gav, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, I agree. And, you do, as everyone sort of mentioned about their squad, they've got a fantastic squad. And the expectation levels are different. For us as a nation, progressing out the group would be fantastic progression for us as a nation at this point. Whereas they're expected to win it. So there's massive pressure on them as well. So they will be feeling it. And I think if we go and, have a go at them and put them under pressure, not so much by attacking them, but just being, really resilient and just keeping it really tight so that we can stay in the game and get chances. I think there's an opportunity for sure, and I think they do realise just how big a thing it is between the nations. And most of the games are tight, so we're hopeful it's like that again. We certainly don't want too open a game on our behalf, but the last few games against them we've done reasonably okay, and if we can take that into the game on the weekend, then fantastic, and go and nick a result, then obviously it keeps the Euros alive for us. So that's, I suppose, the main objective for the game.
When we were speaking to Craig Brown and Charlie Adam the other day, we were discussing potential personnel changes that Steve Clarke might like to look at, and Craig Brown, I think, bristled a little bit at the likes of me suggesting that certain changes should be made, which he's absolutely entitled to do. He's a lot more experience than I have at this sort of thing, quite obviously. But I mean, when you look at a potential side to face England at Wembley, and you look at the one that started against the Czechs, Gav, are there a couple of changes that you might make if it was you that had the decision to make?
It's a really difficult one because you're obviously going down there away game against England. It's going to be a tough game, and whether Steve Clarke decides to sort of sit in and try and hit on the brake and keep us really tight, which I assume he would do, then there may be a couple of changes. And you could put, you could maybe put Jamie Forrest at the right wing back, but again, that's really open. You can put McTominay back the way and put McGregor in the middle. Put Shea Adams up top. It's very difficult. I think Shea Adams should play. I think he should play with if they're going to go the 3-5-2, play the two of them up top. But then obviously you keep yourself open in other areas. So it's such a difficult one for him. But I think he will make a few changes. I don't think there'll be loads of changes, but I think he will make a few just to sort of freshen us up. We obviously didn't win the game. It is a totally different type of game, this one, going down there, but I think there will be changes because he's got a good squad to use, and why not use it?
Rachel?
Yeah, I think Shea Adams has to come in. I think, he obviously had his reasons why he started Christie in the last game, but I think even more so, if we don't have so much of the ball, I think it's even tougher to have him in there. He obviously has quality, but it more suits when we're in possession. And yeah, again, I would agree. I think McTominay maybe coming in, I would possibly move him into the back three. I think when he first was playing there, we saw some mistakes that perhaps cost goals, but I think he grew into that. And I just think probably his experience of playing against a lot of these players and knowing a couple of the players on a personal level, playing at club level, then I think that probably goes in our favour again. Just helps to maybe level off some of those nerves of playing against some of the supposedly big names.
Right, guys, what do we think? Have we got a prediction in us? What do you reckon? Gav, put you on the spot, mate. Don't say 6-0 England, mate. That would be my advice.
Not at all. I'll go 2-2.
Nice.
That's what I think. Yeah, I agree.
Rachel?
Oh, I need to go for something different then. I'll go 2-1 Scotland.
Ooh, bold. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan, have you got one? Did you go 2-2 as well, did you?
Yeah, I was going to say 2-2. Yeah, I think I think both teams will score. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I just want to see us score in the tournament. That's that's one of my key ambitions.
So now I'm left to fight between my natural inclination to be a miserable bugger and try and keep the spirits up. So I'm going to say we're going to get a point. I'm going to go 1-1. There we go. That's as good as you'll get out of me.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Well, I think that concludes this episode. So all that's left to say is thank you to Rachel and thank you to Gavin for joining us today. Cheers, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Cheers, folks.